Hello, race fans. We are here with another exciting Challenge Cup race. This one coming to you from the quarterfinals, and we are excited for the tournament that we have for you today. We are going to be featuring RaikouRider versus craigSMB3, and I am Growlwolf on commentary with you all today, and I am looking forward to what is very likely. This is going to be my hot take, but this is very likely going to be the winner of this one will be hunting down somebody in finals. I legitimately believe these runners have what it takes to go the distance, to take down the Challenge Cup, and be this year's finalist and winner of the Challenge Cup. So you heard it here first, folks. I am going to stick by that. I know I'm supposed to be impartial on the commentary booth. However, I am definitely making a hot take here because I can. And I am being partial. I'm being partial to these two runners. And this is why we're here, obviously. So anyway, so RaikouRider and craigSMB3, just two absolutely fantastic, very, very good runners, both in their own rights. RaikouRider, a veteran of this game, has just been sensational, I think is a really good way to describe him. Is sensational in this game, is just such a smooth player, does such a great job of manipulating the game, routing, just really does a great job at keeping himself into a lot of these races. Took down a couple of very admirable foes recently, and that we had, let's see, who did he take on? So to get to this point, RaikouRider had to take on Basil, and that was a bit of a trickier run for him, but he was able to take care of that one. And then craigSMB3, I think probably the one that was more unexpected, a huge upset, took down Dave Lindo in 2 games. Like the first one had just really shown up, looked astounding, looked like he was in it to win it. And then right after that, he now gets RaikouRider. So you have to be feeling as craigSMB3, if he can win this thing, if he can go the distance against RaikouRider, what can't he do? And now as we have these runners in a very tumultuous place, we've got 7-5 coming up. RaikouRider going for a power-up. You can usually get that if you have an enemy you can jump off of, and he does. It's a star. That'll keep him protected for a little bit. Interestingly enough, he does not go for the other power-up. We'll see if he goes from the top. But so far, an Angry Sun on this level will be a little bit problematic for these runners. craigSMB3 just probably 30 seconds behind at this point, as he did have a bit of a divergence. He decided to go after a toadstool house. He wanted an enemy or an item there. He took down the enemy with a shell. He wanted an item from the toadstool house, and hopefully that will come in handy for him. There's a lot of toadstool houses. One of them's bound to have a Hammer Brothers suit at one point. That's definitely an item worth having if you're both in Bowser's Castle at the same time. If you can keep a Hammer suit, that is the quickest way of getting through Bowser's Castle without inflicting or without taking any damage if you can get a clip, and then of course taking down Bowser the fastest way possible. So we'll be looking for some of those. We'll see if it comes up. RaikouRider with a death from an Angry Sun that had to have just started in this room. craigSMB3 going to have to be just a little careful here. The Paragoombas dropping some kids, which is definitely giving him some problems, and RaikouRider decides to turn around and find 3-1. So RaikouRider deciding to take a bit of a smooth transition there into 3-1, which I think is a very good decision. Maybe play another level, try to get an item, get ready to go for the next part. And craigSMB3 now trying to build a coin bridge. Has to be very careful. Oh. Unfortunately, craigSMB3 does take a death there. Hopefully decides to use an item. He has his mushroom. He's going into a Hammer Brother fight. With any luck, this is going to be an item that he can use here, especially because this, of course, will not have... okay, it looks like he does not get the power-up from the mushroom, and he gets a star. So still going to have to be a little bit on the safe side here, going back into 7-5. Meanwhile, RaikouRider does still have a tail now, and that mushroom, so decides to go ahead and use the tail. That's a great, great, great decision in this level, as there is a lot of things that can and will go wrong. And with that, he can bypass some of that. He'll have a block up on the top that he'll be able to break, and will be able to continue to go through. So we'll look forward to seeing him do that, as he probably even though he was the second into this level for the second time, he will be the first one out of it, most likely, unless, of course, he does take unintentional damage and will lose the tail. But we will, of course, have to come back to that. Meanwhile, craigSMB3, now with a mushroom, is going to be looking at just maybe going for a clip here, maybe, okay, avoid it altogether. RaikouRider taking no time at all. I don't know if he got that P speed up. Okay, he's going to try to, okay, very nicely done. He was able to slowly and methodically glide his way down to the right side of that. Did not have to build a coin bridge, and just like that, we call it. There it is. That is the first Raikou, or that is the first out of 7-5 on the side of RaikouRider. So we are looking forward to seeing what happens next on his side. He will, of course, get a star here, as that is what the Boomerang brother had on the side of craigSMB3, and that is the one that he played a moment ago. Now, craigSMB3 taking a little bit more of a precaution there. I think that may just be a little overkill, if I'm being completely honest. No reason to go for that coin. I think it's more than anything just wanting to make sure he doesn't have any issues going over that bridge. But really all that means is just taking a lot more time here. So craigSMB3 furiously doing his best to get through and not have to play another 7-5 with an Angry Sun. Meanwhile, RaikouRider now onto his fight with Morton, who's not too salty today, but that is going to be the end of World 2. And of course, that was the World 6 airship, my personal favorite. Now, we do have another world coming up. Obviously, we have 8 of them in all. 8, of course, will be the end. 1 was World 2 in the vanilla game. So go ahead and get your guesses in. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7 could still be up. Go ahead and get your guesses into chat as to what you think the next world will be. I've got to go with World 5 for no reason other than I think it should be World 5. And I'm going to have to agree with Bernard and Nader on that one. So we'll have to wait and see. No! Looks like Foxy Man 1113 is correct. And that was World 7. So congratulations on that. Very nicely done. Meanwhile, craigSMB3 now into that fight with Morton. 2 shots, no problems. And that is all the tablespoons of salt we'll have today from Morton. A few pause strats. And looks like Raikou just doing his best to keep it safe here. Pause strats, no problem, as he's able to avoid taking a lot of damage. He does have the mushroom, which will speed him up a little bit, as the P-speed is a little different on the tail, but no problem at all, as he is now moving on to what happens next. Wait for an item. I think that's a really good call, and actually a really good chance to bring up our flag set for the day. So our flag set is a no in-card game and no question mark levels. So we, of course, will be able to see the number panels. And okay, RaikouRider, realizing he can't go anywhere with that star, is going to have to wait. Now he gets the Buzzy Beetle. Now he's on his way through the pyramid. And there we go. Meanwhile, craigSMB3 avoiding the Piranha, and that's going to stick him into the same level as RaikouRider. A very close race still, and a lot left to go. Anyway, so an unintentional death on the side of craigSMB3 means he will start this over again. And Raikou now able to get through and is going to be finishing up in just one moment. So with just a stage difference, you know, the RaikouRider decided to play the Piranha stage there a moment ago, and now craigSMB3 just doing his best. You have to believe some of this is nerves, and I think craigSMB3, you know, a little bit new to our randomizer, is just going to be feeling the effects of a lot of this right now. Hopefully he can shake some of that off and get ready, because you've got 3 races potentially to play. This is a best of 3. So race to 2. One of these guys will have to take two wins in order to take the match. So we, of course, will be looking for that. And unfortunately, craigSMB3 did just go a little too far, and that will spell a death on the side of craigSMB3. So with that, he will go back to the pyramid level. Hopefully this time is able to get through and not have to worry about it again. RaikouRider now through the World 2 Fortress, and we'll be moving along to see what happens. That does break a lock in front of the fortress. I think this is a very good call to go ahead and see it, play it, do it, get it over with. That way you don't have to worry about it again. 3F2 comes up on the side of RaikouRider, and Raikou is just moving along, doing a great job. Just absolutely astounding, doing a fantastic job at keeping his cool and really doing a great job in all rights. Whereas craigSMB3, unfortunately, is having a bit of a game of jitters and really needs to start making some really good place here. He knows these levels. He knows it's a randomizer. He knows what he needs to do. And at this point, it's take a breath. You're fine. Get through your level. Get through your match. You're fine. This is race 1. You've not lost yet. Granted, you will have to win the next 2, but you're not done yet. You still have a lot of race to play, a lot of game left to go. You still got a lot of levels. That's a game over. He's going to have to start over, but he was able to get to that second island immediately. So he'll return from North America back to Europe, if you think about it in terms of the world map. And honestly, I don't hate this decision here. That left fortress, it looks like, did break the lock on the left-hand side. Hammers are a possibility in this flag set. So hammers breaking locks, we don't know yet if hammers actually break locks or if they don't. So we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to come back to that. Obviously, that's something that we'll be looking for. And in this one, I think it definitely would have been a huge advantage to have a hammer break the lock. Maybe see if that takes you there immediately. It looks like on the side of RaikouRider, yeah, it will take you there. And there is a pipe on the bottom right. So it looks like there could possibly be another pipe that would lead you there. But most commonly, and probably knowing my luck, it's a pipe that actually won't take you anywhere except for like the toadstool house or the penthouse. So actually being able to get to that wouldn't actually be a factor. That's always one of those juicy things like, hey, would it actually add anything? Or is it even a possibility? And I don't think it is. I don't think there's any divergence. That pipe that's on the bottom right to where the piranha would be very likely goes to a dead end. So anyway, with that in mind, the flag set again, we have hammers that may or may not break locks. We have no in-card games, and that's going to be the same for all of our races today. Well, at least the first 2. And then from there, the in-card games and the hand panels are both turned off. So if there are question mark panels, that means that hand levels don't exist. So these guys both don't have a problem with that. They've turned off the question mark panels, which, of course, the exchange for that means that you don't have to worry about the hand levels grabbing you. You would just have to play it through as a normal level. But on the flip side, if there are more than one fortress in a world, you won't be able to notice that because of a world 10 or the 10 panel. So it's got its plus and minus, you know, depending on which way you want to think about it. Either way, that is going to be, you know, something just to keep in mind, but that's what they've chosen for today. So anyway, so a couple levels later, and a piranha is the end of World 7 for RaikouRider, and we now join him on the World 3 airship. So we will look forward to seeing Ludwig von Koopa in a very wide open arena, as this is the one that usually has Windy in it. And we'll have to see if he's a salty boy today or if he's a beefy boy, as Ludwig von Koopa, the maestro of mayhem, is known for being a problematic fight here. But this time I spoke too soon. He is done. One and done. He's got the one-hit wonder. He's got just nothing left in the tank for this one. And that is going to spell the end of World 7. So go ahead and get your guesses into chat as to what is coming up next. And I'm going to have to say World 4 is coming up next. I said 5 last time. We'll take it down a notch and go 4. And we'll see what happens next. Meanwhile, craigSMB3 into 7F2. And we'll come back to that in a moment. We have a question in chat. Since the bot isn't working, the difference between this tourney and the other one is this is the Challenge Cup. So we had 48 runners that started the tournament in the group stages. So they were in groups of 4, and you played everybody in your pod twice. So you had 6 games that you played in all, 2 with each other player. So this is the side that didn't qualify for the brackets. So the other side is brackets. They're playing for money. They're playing for all the rights and the bragging and all the other jazz. And these guys are playing for experience, I think is a good way of putting it. They're also playing for the bragging as well. I think pride, yeah, that's a good one. The ability to say nah, 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 nah until next year when they have to play again. So there you go. That's the difference between these two. I certainly would be on the Challenge Cup side for sure. But that, please let that understand that there is still a lot of fierce competition here. Both of these guys have a lot to offer in this randomizer seed. RaikouRider really showing up, really putting on a great show so far. craigSMB3 is still a solid runner though. So definitely do not discount him at all. There is a lot that can still happen in this race, as well as at least the next one. A 2-0 sweep is possible. Obviously, it's always possible. It can be a flip on who has what item at the right time, who has what right information correctly, who makes a right guess. So there are a lot of things that could still happen if Raiko takes this one, or even if Craig comes back and takes this one. So there's no clear winner yet. There is not a clear winner. We're not done yet. We've still got a lot to race. It could be a 2-1. It could be a 2-0. We won't know until the runners finally get through it. So we are looking forward to some really good matches still. And of course, on the other channel, that is Scarface Nico, who took down DLP316, who was the fastest with the average time from the group stages. Whereas he is taking on Teeks88, who is a master of the game in every right and in every way that you could possibly imagine. I mean, just an exceptional performance on both sides of those guys to be here at this point. And with quarterfinals on either side, it's heating up drastically. So we are looking forward to both of those matches, seeing how they turn out. And of course, we will come back to those and maybe check in on those in a little bit. Meanwhile, 2-5 on the side of craigSMB3. He has been able to take that down, no problem at all. And RaikouRider finishing off 5F1. And of course, you love to see that as well. So both runners just doing their absolute best to get through their respective worlds at this point. craigSMB3, I think, finally able to figure out World 7. It has been a huge thorn in his side for sure. It's a complicated world, and maybe some nerves are to be blamed. Maybe there are a couple of other things that he needs to get situated, especially before the next game. You've got potentially three races, at least one more. You know, settle yourself. Use this time. If you feel like you're behind, that's fine. Whatever. I can't talk you out of that. I don't want to talk you out of that. But what I am saying is, get yourself ready. You've got another race to go. You aren't out of it yet. You're not done. Yeah, reset his headspace. That's a really good way of putting it. And let's get back into it. Let's go. RaikouRider going for an off-screen one grab. And looks like he will get it. A very nicely done job on his side. As that is not always a give me. It's not always something that you can get every single time. Whereas craigSMB3 now working on his World 3 airship and is going to be fighting Ludwig von Koopa in just a moment. World 1 now up on the side of RaikouRider, and he is going to find 3-3 first. So not a terrible level, especially if he decides to go for the P switch here in just a moment. Looks like he very well may. He does. He's going to get a bit of a running start and should be able to finish this off without any further issues. Meanwhile, craigSMB3 now doing his absolute best to close the gap as quickly as possible. RaikouRider finishing off 3-3. craigSMB3 finishing off his World 2, which was World 7. World 4 now coming up. This was a bit of a jet World 4. So about a world down, but really probably equates to about 4 levels, I do believe. So craigSMB3 trying to make up his mind of what he wants to do. Looks like he's going to go for a Toadstool House. RaikouRider going for a hidden item up in World 1 Fortress. And it looks like the hammers do break locks. We just got that confirmation from a Cobra because we did, of course, have a lock that would have been necessary, or I guess it was in the vanilla spot, actually. So you could have still got around it, but he was able to avoid 3 levels that way. Great call to go ahead and try it there. See, hey, maybe it will work. It did. That is going to spell the end of World 1 for RaikouRider. And he, of course, will be into the World 2 airship now. And will be taking on Larry in just a moment as he does use the P-Speed strat to fly over center mast. And that will be setting up the boss fight in just moments. So very nicely done on the side of RaikouRider to go ahead and blaze through 2 worlds extremely quickly. 1, 2, 7, and 4 are now gone. We have 3, 5, and 6 left to play. And then, of course, 8 will be at the end. So get your guesses into chat as to what you think is next. I'm going to have to go with World 3. We're just talking about it. It seems like World 3 would be a really good place for our runners to go next. But, of course, we will have to wait and see for sure. craigSMB3 now doing his absolute best to get caught up here. And I sure hope he does. We'd sure like to see some really good races. And more than anything, see what these runners actually can do. I think, You know, sometimes it sounds like we're talking down and bad about the runners and stuff. And please understand that is not what I intend to do at all. These runners are outstanding, and I know what they can play as. I've seen it. I was on the commentary booth for craigSMB3 versus Dave Lindo, and he was on fire. He was sensational. He looked great. I just want to see it again, man. That's it. So anyway, Craig's SMB3 does now have a clean shot to the to the fortress. Instead, decides to take on some Fire Brothers. Has a little bit of an issue to get started there. Okay, looks like he's going to go after an item. Doesn't see one that he likes. Okay, but he does get a hammer, so that is going to be huge, making sure that he is not behind when it comes down to actually playing with the hammers and such. Oh, Craig, what are you doing, man? 3-4 now up on the side of craigSMB3. He realizes the mistake. This isn't a required level, man. He's got to go back. He's got to play the fortress. He does have to build a bridge. Kudos to him for figuring that out early. Unfortunately, that is a loss of a tail. But it does feel like he's playing tilted right now, and he's got to get that out of his head. He's got to take a breath. He's got to get some tea or water, or whatever it is that he's just got to use to reset himself and get back into this. He's going through 5F1 now. Raikou now into 7F2. And of course, that will be one time for RaikouRider. And not Raikou, I'm sorry, Raikou. I got called out on that last time, and I swore I would get it right. So RaikouRider now going through 7F2 and is just going to be looking for a fight with Boom Boom. He gets it. The tail is still intact. And that will be the end of both Boom Booms here in just a moment. Boom Booms are going down like it's Black Friday sales. So these guys are going down, and they're going to be looking for the next whatever it could be. craigSMB3 decides to go ahead and skip Hammer Brother and is now in the World 5 airship that we saw from Raikou just a little bit ago. Raikou also having a problem with the hand level stage. Thankfully is able to get through it here pretty quickly and is rewarded with the Tanuki suit. So now any of the hand level stages will have a Tanuki suit when it comes up. So Gernardinator, we are on fire, man. We got a couple of these right. We got World 3, and I think we got World 4 correct. So hey, we're hanging in there, man. And yeah, some days are just not your day for racing, and that's most days for me. I'm a little too salty at times to actually race well. And actually, when I used to race, my wife would always call me out on that, be like, "You're aggravated, aren't you?" I'm sitting there grumbling to myself, yeah, that's kind of how that works. But really, the biggest race you have to win is the one in your mind. So hopefully we can see these runners kind of shake off the jitters, the game, the things like that. And it looks like Raikou did see that he had a open path because he did break or already face a fortress in the route. And of course, that is exactly what he wants to see as the World 1 airship does come up. And he is going to be taking on Windy in just a moment with Larry's arena. So not a bad arena to take on Windy either. Looks like he's going to be going for a fire kill Earthquake Windy. Okay, this is interesting. Sun Tzu and the Art of War. That would be a very good way to do it. Get yourself ready. It's been a while since I've read that, but there are some really good stories in that. Know your enemy, know yourself even better. That would be a great way to do it. You know who you're going up against. Let this one be a wash. Resteel yourself and get ready for the second round. You may have lost the battle. The war's not over yet. And I threw my pen. Okay, there we go. So now we've got RaikouRider going into World 6, which I didn't even get a guess in, but World 6 it is. So it is in its vanilla placement, and that, of course, will mean World 5 comes up after that. And then Bowser's Castle and World 8 will be coming up shortly. So RaikouRider with a pretty free World 6. There's just not a whole lot there. RaikouRider realizing, wait, there's a boss pass on this 8-2. I'm going to go the long way around. That'll be a couple piranhas. Oh, okay, 8-2 does bode, unfortunately, poorly for RaikouRider. But with that, he will go ahead and reconvene, regroup, take a Fire Flower into the other level, which appears to be 1-6. So not a terrible level, one that we're pretty familiar with. We've seen it a couple times in this game. Used in every route, so long as you're doing anything not warpless, and you're good to go. A tail is perfect for this level because the P-Speed strat doesn't work on this, as there's not always a Koopa there. So, okay, very nice. A victorious warrior wins and then goes to war. A defeated warrior goes to war and then tries to win. Now, I like that. That's a very good way of putting it, because we're just not done. And if you try to win, or if you try to do anything, I mean, at this point, you just got to re-steal yourself and get ready for the next one. So get back into it, get your mind back in the game, and let's go. Meanwhile, somebody who may be getting tilted is that of RaikouRider. He did play an extra level, I think, 8-2, and then he actually went in and played another level, 1-6, which is not necessary here, I don't think. It looks like all three fortresses are at the beginning, so he's going to have to play a couple levels just to get to the fortresses, figure out which one's the right one, and then go from there. So could be a bit of a chance for craigSMB3 to catch up here if he can figure this out pretty quickly. Hopefully he does. And absolutely, 3 forts, 1 is the winner, and 5-9 is required unless our runners decide to cloud it. I don't recommend that, though, because either you have to go through where the hammer would be necessary, or or you have to take a game over, or you have to avoid it somehow. So a lot of very tricky levels coming up here, and I think I saw 7-8 earlier. Oh, craigSMB3 missing on that jump. That will spell the loss of life, and he will have to start over. So with that, he'll use a P-Wing and a star. He's not playing around now. He is going through 7F2 with a P-Wing, with a Starman for the beginning, and will be able to finish off the early part of this level very quickly, and hopefully is able to move on without any further problems, which it looks like he has done so far. So RaikouRider now finishing up 5-9. The Diagonal Doom, one of 2 auto-scrollers still left in the game. Oh, Craig. Craig with a nice save, keep himself out of trouble, and then unfortunately that doesn't mean he has a bit of a problem with the next pipe as he falls in between them. So you feel for him. You hate to see it. You absolutely truly do, but you hate to see it. If he can pick up a hammer, he can skip 2 levels in World 6 to catch up. That's only if he decides to go. That's only if he decides to go after the other pipe, though. Because if he does go through the other pipe, then he'll have to play a level, which was either 1-6 or 8-2, and then that would take him to the other pipe set, which would actually take him to that pipe. So he would still be able to avoid a level or 2, which, of course, you'd like to see. But with that, craigSMB3, it looks like he's just trying to steal himself. It looked like he paused on the screen for a little moment. I actually ran over to check if it was a forfeit, and I'm SMB3. He has not forfeited yet. Unfortunately, though, I think he's going to have to come back and play 7F2, as I do believe it's a required fortress. Hey, Drosy, I am glad you're here. We are having a wonderful race so far. RaikouRider just showing his skills at this point, really doing a fantastic job. And craigSMB3 needs to let the nerves settle a little bit. I think it's probably the best way that I can describe it. Needs to really get himself into a better place for this next race, and hopefully we can get a game 3 out of it. But looking forward to seeing what happens in the next race for sure. Hopefully we can get some more great SMB3 randomizer action. That's why we're here. We love it. We know it. And a bit of a tricky seed for these guys so far. World 6 has not been kind. It looked like we were going to be a pretty regular seed until World 6 happened. And there was at least 2 required levels. RaikouRider is going to be playing all 3 of these fortresses. I think that's a really good call. If you're not sure, if you don't have a clear indicator, then go ahead and just play all 3. So Raikou is, and it looks like he's going to be taking on 3F1 to finish off this World 6 pretty quickly. Meanwhile, craigSMB3 now trying to make his mind as to what he wants to do. If he can pick up a hammer from one of these Hammer brothers for whatever reason, that could spell a bit of a difference as far as the next world as well as this one. Unfortunately, that is a death on his side, and he will have to start over. So it looks like, okay, That is interesting. So World 7F2 isn't required per se. No, I take that back. It is required because the two pipes up set on the right side is linked, and the other fortress is just not necessary. So he will have to go back and play 7F2. And oh, you hate to see it. You really, truly do. But anyway, RaikouRider, now on to his airship. One of two that we have left, and that is the World 7 airship. And he will, of course, be going into World 5 in just one moment. So, Drossi, thank you so much for that. If you're not already following our runners, these guys put on some really, really cool things. They do a lot of SMB3 randomizer, especially around tournament time, as well as some other things. So if you like what you see, go ahead and run over, give them a follow, share, show them some love. Tell Craig that we're cheering for him. We are. We definitely want to see a really great match. We want to see a match that's earned and fought hard for. So, you know, show them some love, show the support. You know, these guys put on a lot of time, and they put on a lot of really good shows, and do a really great job of keeping it all entertaining for us. And of course, we love seeing it, and it's one of the many reasons that I love being on commentary. It is a great time. Altogether, it's a great time. These guys do such a great job. The community itself is just awesome, and that, of course, makes it a lot of fun as well. Okay, Craig, come on. He's had problems with this pipe several times before. Patience is key. He is able to get through now. Just a few more of the up and downs. Okay, he's got through the thwomp. He's got the boo lured over. There's no hot foot on the pipe. Come on, one more jump, Craig. One more jump. You got this. Okay, he's got to be careful here. Okay, that's fine. That is fine. That is a loss of that's a loss of status, not a loss of life. We're okay with that. Well done, Craig. Now, oh! You hate to see it. You absolutely hate to see it. craigSMB3 tilted beyond all measure with that 7F2, and with that, he does forfeit from the race. So at this point, RaikouRider is the victor so long as he finishes. There is no forfeit and the other guy immediately wins. We don't do that. We still want to get our SMB3 races in. We want to get the randomizer in. 32 minutes in, you know, we understand it's hard. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of things that you have to keep mindful of. You have to really work hard at it. And Craig SMB3 just had too many issues with the 7F2. He forfeit. No, he forfeit because 7F2 took him out too many times. He actually said in the chat that he literally got sniped like 10 times. And that is absolutely what we saw. In 7F2, he took a lot of deaths. He had a P-wing, ended up having a misstep, took damage, and then fell through the hole. The second was he had a Tanuki suit. That was giving him problems. So just 7F2 was a really, really bad part. World 7 also was a problem. He was having a bit of an issue with World 7, and it just wasn't working in his favor. He wasn't able to get through the pipes like he wanted. He wasn't able to finish off levels like he wanted. Unfortunately, it didn't bode well for him. But we do have a prediction in chat, so go ahead and play along. I'm going to be risking my channel points as well, so whatever I pick the opposite of, because I'm always terrible and I always get the wrong one. So I'm going to say evens here. Because the guess is how many bridges does it take to get to Bowser? So that, of course, is how many it takes for our runners to have to play fortresses wise. There are usually 5 icons in World 8 that do have something associated with them. Now, one of those is the tanks, and that's the first one you'll come to when you come to World 8, and that is not necessary. It's not required. It's a stage that you have to play because it is an icon. Other than that, it's not necessary. It's nothing more than just a level with a bunch of tanks on it. So that is not a required fortress. But then the Navy, Air Force, tanks and fortress are required because they all have boom booms. and they all are attached to a lock or something that is required in order to move on and take on Bowser. So there are a possibility of anywhere from 0 to 4, but there's also the caveat that there is a -1, which means the bridge does show up on the left-hand side of where you come up. Normally in the game, it would be on the left-hand side. You come up, you take on the super tanks. That guards Bowser. You break the lock there. You move on to Bowser. So long, get Bowser. Well, in this case, we don't necessarily have a specific spot for where the runner comes up. They could either show up in the place where the pipe normally is, or they could show up in the place where the super tanks normally would be. So it looks like it would be a -1 if you want to call it that way, or if you want to say 2, one's required, one's not. Whatever makes you feel happy. If you get that right, I feel like you deserve extra bragging rights. If not, that's cool too. I gotta go with, let's go with 2, I think, at this point. Mine's a really, really, really late guess. I apologize. I'll try to get earlier on that the next time. If I'm right, we'll just say I cheated and we'll go from there. But anyway, so craigSMB3 is going to be waiting for the next seed, and we'll get that up as soon as we can after this race. Probably take just a moment to let the runners reset. And of course, we'll look forward to seeing what happens next. And yes, Craig did give up 7F5, World 7, and 7F2 were just too problematic. They were difficult levels. 7F2 is a challenging fortress. It's not a gimme by any means. It is actually the reason my first run took 2.5 hours. It took me a long time to get through, because 7F2 is a problem. It actually can be a problem for our runners. It's not a friendly level, and you talk about like all these different hard Mario games, things like that. SMB3 is definitely a hard one for a lot of reasons, and one of which is 7F2. World 7 in a whole is probably one of the hardest, if not the hardest world in a lot of the SMB3, or in a lot of the Super Mario games that they've created throughout the years. So it looks like there is one required and one not required. So if that was your guess, congratulations, very nicely done. So I don't know how the prediction is going to go. I think it was required bridges. Okay. I'm going to say that this is interesting because I don't know the answer to this. I agree with Macobra. It's one technically to Bowser, but one had to be built to go play the fortress that built the one that goes to Bowser. So everybody wins? I don't know. I legitimately don't know. But anyway, we'll have to let Drosy take care of that. I believe he was the one that actually set that up for us. So we'll look forward to that. And also, I just received word. I am very excited about this. Drosy is going to be joining on comms shortly after this race. So when we do reset, get our runners started, get things ready to go, we're going to have Drosy on scene with us on the set. He's going to be helping me with commentary. I'm looking forward to that. So we'll look forward to that in just one moment. So 2 required, since 1 was needed to be made to get access to the end game. I have to agree with that. I think that is nicely stated. So thank you, Demon Battler, on that. A fun one for sure, though. I'm not sure I've ever seen where a bridge had to be built to go left to play the fort to go right. I think that's kind of cool. I'm going to be completely honest. But RaikouRider now on to his last fight with Bowser, hopefully. Looks like it's going well so far for him. He's not able to get the lower hitbox yet. Uh-oh. Okay, he's got to be careful. Very nicely done. Looked like he was having just a little bit of a problem with Bowser not wanting to play along. And 1 fireball does mean Raikou is going to get out basically scot-free. And, okay, fireballs are not going to be an issue. That is going to be the end of it for Bowser. 15 seconds later should be the end of this level for him. get your GGs in chat for RaikouRider on a magnificent game one. And honestly, he played very, very well this first seed. It was a tough one. His finish time was 39:26, so just a remarkable job on his side to get through a very daunting seed. 40 minutes almost with a hammer break lock set is nearly unheard of, but that's just how bad this fortress or this entire seed was. World 6 with the 3 fortresses that were all back to back to back, World 7F2, and World 3 that was required. Just so many things. If it could go wrong, it kind of felt like it did. So a very nicely done job on the side, or very nicely job done on the side of RaikouRider. craigSMB3, we're looking forward to seeing what Race 2 has. I really, really, truly hope that he brings the game that we've seen previously from him. So with that, we are going to be getting these runners started in just one moment. Go grab your popcorn, go grab your drinks, get what you have to do real quick. Go for a 3-minute brisk walk to liven up your spirits and your attitude, and we will get these runners on our way in just moments. We'll get Drosy on the stream, and we're looking forward to seeing what happens next. Don't go anywhere. Alrighty, we are back and we are getting the runner set up here in just one moment. We're having a little bit of a technical delay, and that is quite all right. We'll be getting them set up and started here as quickly as we can. We are looking forward to seeing the second match of the potentially three. Of course, if RaikouRider does take this one, that will be it. And we'll, of course, go into interviews after that. If craigSMB3 does take this one, though, that is going to force game three in the best of three, which I think I speak on behalf of everyone in this room right now. We would love to see that. So with me now, we do have Drossi joining me. Welcome. We're glad to have you.
Thank you. It's great to be here. And yes, I agree, especially after, that unfortunate first race for Craig. We'd love to see him be able to get back in this.
Absolutely. And on the side of Craig and SMB3, what are we expecting to see here to make something like that even happen?
Well, not 7F2 would probably be the best thing for him, or at least not a required 7F2. And other than that, my best advice for him is, keep your wits about you.
Absolutely. And absolutely, 7F2. A part of me dies inside every time I see that as a runner, but then it's immediately brought right back when I see it as a commentator because I think it's hilarious. But anyway, I'm just that evil of a person. But you're absolutely right. Just do what he does. Craig SMB3 is a fantastic runner. He beat Dave Lindo 2-0, who, in my opinion, was a very prime contender for going into the bracket stages of this tournament. Dave Lindo, a fast runner, and Craig SMB3 took him down twice in a row. We know he has the skills. We know he's a good runner. We know he can do this. And hopefully we see it. I really hope to see a better race out of Craig this time. I'm looking forward to seeing a game three.
And, you can see right here off the bat, he fully kept pace with RaikouRider through that first stage. And here we are in the coin hand stage. And, I mean, he's a second or two behind, but he's really keeping pace. Only a star for the hand reward today. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, stars are one of those almost booby prize items where you get it and you're like, oh, yay, okay, that's fine. You use it.
No.
You've got it. It is there. But now we're into 6-6, I believe. And what a terrifying level to get started with.
Yeah, that's why I was saying, oh no. And in fact, Craig did take a death. He's going the top route here while Raikou took the bottom route. For the power-up, I see.
Yeah, I don't hate this idea from Craig, but it is such a daunting place to do that. If you can't take out those enemies, it is a very terrifying place to be. Now he's got a duck here. Okay, wow. The hitbox on those cheeps are very daunting and work just absolutely villainously when these runners are trying to get through. So thankfully he's able to get through that, but he's not even halfway through this level yet.
Yeah, I mean, and overall, I'm expecting, slower, more conservative play from him just because he doesn't want to wind up in a situation like he did last race.
I think starting out, that's a very, very good strategy. He doesn't know this, but he is only half a level behind RaikouRider.
No, who just got eaten.
He got gulped on 6-5. How does that happen?
That was quite the place for a boss pass to appear. You just never know with them.
You don't. You never know. Okay, well, that happened.
Well, that certainly worked to Craig's advantage. I was going to say, before RaikouRider got gulped, that, RaikouRider, he's up a game. He can afford to be a bit more, let's just say, reckless, just go for broke. He's going to want to try to finish the series now, but if he doesn't, well, he's got another chance.
He actually admitted in the race room, and I think this is a very interesting point, especially with what you're making right now, and that is he felt like his routing was trash. So now one of two things is either going to happen. He's either going to try it again and hope that he winds up with a similar to better result, or he's going to try a completely different route and an opportunity here. So if there's a 50-50, I'm curious to see if we have any divergence here. I'm very curious to see what happens next. And it looks like craigSMB3 having a long consideration of what he wants to do here. I almost thought he might go for a reset there, but maybe thinks the time would just be too much. I think at this point he has to get through 6-5 here, and the sooner the better. Because as soon as you get through it, that's a load off your shoulders. That's not something you have to worry about again. And now you can start to play and get even more aggressive. So get through this stage and then go from there.
Yeah, and it is unfortunate that the only power-ups we've gotten, as we see a very heavy Larry Koopa on Raikou's side, but the only power-ups we've gotten have been those stars, and Craig would really like a power-up that actually makes him able to take hits.
And this is it. I mean, this is the level. This is the thing that he needs. 6-5 at the top is a mushroom. On the bottom, it's a fire flower. And now we have 6-5 that he's going to try to play quickly to get an item from and then move on from there. I think this is such a terrible decision. You're at 0 lives. You're not getting any more lives out of this. You're not doing anything to help yourself except just wasting more time. Honestly, if I'm craigSMB3 at this point, I'm thinking reset the game. That is still allowed. Reset the game. Play those 2 levels again. Get yourself in. It's a brand new game. It's a brand new seed. Get through 6-5 the first time. If you go in with the mushroom, fine. If not, that's fine too. Because you can get the mushroom on the top, get the fire flower on the bottom. It doesn't get better than that.
Well, I mean, this will get him through, but yeah, he's clearly lost a lot of time. Raikou's going to be well into the second world. I didn't actually see what the world map is for the second world today. But yeah, it's unfortunate after that first race that he's just losing a lot of time. And I think what it comes down to is there are certain, let's be honest, really tough levels that if you have to play them without power-ups, they can just tilt you.
Absolutely. And that 100%, I totally and completely agree with. Because in my opinion, there are 3 equalizers in this game. And that is World 8. It has the bridges. It has a lot of variances that could happen in the game. Even from player to player. It's just however you approach it could be different in terms of how you go after it. World 7 has a lot of pipes. If you're not comfortable, if you take a divergence there, that could also be a huge equalizer. And really, the biggest one that a lot of people don't talk about is World 1, Level 1. What is the first thing you come to, or what is one of the first things you come to? Because if you get a 7-6 right out the gate, you don't have a mushroom. You don't have a chance to go in with an item where you're taller. You can do a clip jump. You have to play that level. And if you're small and you're just not getting something that's useful for you, you're wasting a lot of time on that level.
Or in this case, that this was even the second level, but, you know, the first one was really easy, and as we said, the only power-up it gave was a star, which doesn't really help because you're still guaranteed to be small on the next level.
Absolutely, and that goes so far. You know, even the first 2-3 levels, as we're seeing, could be very tumultuous for our runners. Even if it was a 7-9, 7-8, some of those really tricky World 7 levels, even some of the World 6 levels, or a 1-1 with a boss pass. I mean, if you're just not ready for it, that really takes a lot out of you. Now, it looks like craigSMB3 equipped with a star. I feel good about this one.
The only thing is, you just mentioned boss bass. He doesn't know that a boss bass is going to stare him in the face when he gets out of here, and that boss bass, in fact, gulped down RaikouRider his first time through.
Well, if there ever was a commentator's curse, now would be a crazy time to have one. Because hopefully craigSMB3 doesn't get that or have the same luck, because I think if he does, that's going to be an early forfeit on this match, and that's going to be the end of it very quickly. So hopefully we don't get there, though, because I'd like to see the rest of the race happen.
Yeah, and RaikouRider just barely avoided getting gulped again.
Yeah, 7-2 is a terrible place for Boss Bass. I don't know why he seems to like it so much. And it looks like he's going to let it respawn down below. So he's going to have maybe a little bit of a problem when he falls through the pipe, but shouldn't be that big of a deal. And of course, Boss Bass will stay on the bottom. He's a man of his word and stays wherever you put him last.
And Craig is just trying to be slow and steady here. I really hope he makes it through.
Okay, so far so good.
Okay, took down the Piranha and the Cheep Cheep. And now just needs to avoid Boss Bass.
Hey.
Phew. Oh, and we have the Hammer Brothers hand world here on RaikouRider's side, so that'll give us another star. Woohoo!
You know, the biggest thing about these levels is it's an easy one. Normally, it's not too randomized. Yeah, the Hammer Brothers can change, blah, blah, blah. But really, it's not that bad of a level. So it is what it is. The star, yay, whatever. But I think more than anything, it's just a quicker level. And that is one that we would look forward to for that alone, I think.
Raikou having a bit of trouble getting out of the water, but manages before any Cheep Cheeps get him. Craig dealing with his heavy Larry fight. And we're good. Craig is out of World 1, finally.
Hey, you love to see it. And RaikouRider just not terribly far ahead. He's on World 2. Granted, it was a longer World 5 and a ton of stars in the inventory. But he'll just go into World 2 without, or World 2's airship, I should say, without one.
Which is, of course, the power-up on the airship, because this is like the Starman-themed seed.
It is. It seems like that happens every now and then, where you get one seed that has the same item throughout it. And at this point, apparently that's going to be a star for our runners.
I went back and checked the hash. There was only one star in the hash. I thought maybe you had rolled them something with like 3 stars in the hash, and they should have known.
That's how I get you.
So what world do we think will be next? We've seen 1 and 5 so far.
I gotta start with the odds only, and I'm gonna say 3.
So you're thinking this will be like a 1-5-3-7 start?
Yeah.
I kind of like that. Oh, but no, we have the Kupahari Desert.
And Raikou with just so many stars means he'll take one into 1-3. I'm curious if he goes for the hidden item here.
Yeah, I was thinking he might, just in the hopes that it's something other than a star. But no. Ooh, and right as his star wears off.
Yeah, it's one of those times you really need the audio cue, because the music will stop and then the star itself will actually run out. So if you have that musical cue, it can actually tell you basically when you are running out and you need to make plans immediately because you're about to not have what you think you do. Of course, second time is a charm for RaikouRider as he gets the star, and this time knows what he's looking for and is able to finish off the big giant enemy set there. No problem at all. Meanwhile, craigSMB3 now onto the second level in World 5. He will get through 7-4, go through the pipe, and then hopefully is able to make up some ground here. And
but there's a lock on either side, so he's going to have to go through that fort and break one of the locks because the other fort is after the locks.
Indeed. I personally hope this breaks the lock on the top. Although I guess it doesn't really matter. You will have to play a level either way. Okay, so this is interesting. 2-4 or 2-5 placement is going to have to be played. There's just no shortcutting this world, too.
Yeah, so much for that hammer. At least for this world.
Indeed, unless, of course, the hammers do break locks, which we have not yet seen. craigSMB3 with a problem on the side of Sludge Brothers, and unfortunately that does mean he will have to play it again if he so chooses. Okay, doing a very good job of keeping the tempo up. And
there we go.
On the top, I think he was able to actually get through and have some of those hammers despawn. So very nicely done for him to keep his cool and get through the second time. You'll love to see it.
Oh, and a P-Wing from that hammer bro. So that's pretty nice to see. And yeah, here we are in I never remember, is this 4F1 or 4F2?
This is 4F1. This is the first one you'd come to, and interestingly enough, RaikouRider actually still used the hammer on the rock. I think that is such a risky call because you still have hammers breaking locks. We don't know that yet. We don't know either way what their bearing it has on it. So I wonder if this is going to be a bit of a turnaround for craigSMB3.
Yeah, and especially, you know, here he got gulped by Boss Bass trying another route, going the Hammer Brothers hand, getting yet another star. So yeah, he's almost out of World 2, and he could definitely make up some time depending on how he plays World 3 and whether hammers break locks.
Absolutely. I think we have a lot of questions still to answer in this race. And I think the first one we need to ask is what's coming up next? We've had 1-5-2. What do you guys think?
I'm thinking 7 at this point. I don't know, just a feeling.
Sure. I think with this being the World 4 airship, I think I'm going to cast my vote for World 4. We saw 1 in 1, then we had 5 and 2 airship. World 2 had 4 airships, so, you know, we'll see. World 4 is my guess.
Yeah, we've already gotten through the shorter world, so World 4 is probably the shortest remaining world.
World 3 has a potential to be short, but it also has a chance of being very tricky and disgusting. So depending on where and how the pipes work, looks like we've got at least 2 fortresses. So if this is the World 3 with 3 fortresses, oh, I can't wait to see what happens next.
And we're starting off this World 3 with one of our beta levels here. The Just Keep Running beta.
craigSMB3 able to get through his fight with Roy. I like the decision to use a cloud there. You can't prevent yourself from tilting every single time, but he took a cloud to 7-2. It's a bit of a longer level. I actually really love the effort there by Craig to go ahead and avoid that altogether if he could. He did. He got into the hand level. He played it, got the star, and he was able to move on accordingly. So I love the play from him still. He took a game over early. Fine. That happened. It is what it is. Now you're in 1-3. You're in World 3. You're only a world down. He doesn't know that, but we've got World 6. We've got World 7. And if he has a hammer, World 3 is basically free.
And Craig's going to show us what that 1-3 item is.
And RaikouRider now figuring out that World 3 is a 3-fort World 3. And World 6F1 is his first choice.
And I'm sure Craig is very happy to see that P-Wing now. He'll go through, skip the next level, and then we'll see what he does with that hammer.
Absolutely. Hopefully he does not take any... Okay, he knows he has to play this fortress. That's good. That's a great place to start with. Hopefully he doesn't get tempted by the 2 levels because we don't know what they are yet. They could be very easy 2 levels. They could be 1-1, 1-2 with pretty vanilla item. Or guys, you don't know. 5-8 could be easy 1 for him. You know, there's just a lot that these things could be. I think save your hammer. There's a lot that could happen. And now that we see World 3, there's a great chance that this could be a very useful item for him.
Oh, wow. So we just did skip a lot of World 3. You were saying World 3 can sometimes be very short.
And with that, RaikouRider now onto the World 7 airship. Very interesting. 6F1, the only required fortress, and Raikou was able to figure that out immediately with the 2 locks not breaking on the left side of the screen, which of course means the one on the right did because of that. So, wow.
And yeah, Craig is just going to use his hammer to skip 2 levels.
You know, with how this seat is playing out right now, he's got a couple of P-Wings. I think use them on the airship, get a couple of those off-screen hand grabs. Use that in your advantage. You just do the best you can. I think it's a good decision here. Maybe see about playing an extra Hammer Brother or 2. try to get another hammer, get that advantage back in your favor. Raikou now making his way through the end of World 3. That, of course, is 4, 6, and 7 yet to play. Get your guesses in chat. I've got to go icy this time. I'm going to go with the World 6.
Now I'm thinking 4, but let's see momentarily. You were right.
All right, winter is coming, and RaikouRider does have a fire flower from the princess. And just like that, 7F2 now back on the menu. It's certainly not a friendly enemy set here at all. We have a lot of the Venus fire traps, as well as the hot foot that started on the platform with Raikou. He was very fortunate to not have taken that exit or that damage there. And of course, an early exit from this level does mean you're playing it again, and possibly again and again and again, depending on how terrible it is. So far, Raikou, now equipped with the tail, is going to be able to get through the first time. You love to see it.
And as Craig finishes up World 4 and Raikou takes this fort very slowly in World 5, we'll give you plenty of time. If you want to bet some points on the next world, you've got 2 minutes to do it, whether we're going to see World 4 or World 7.
I just got my prediction in, and I said World 7. So if you want to be contradictory, I'll be honest, I did get the last one right. So I'm just saying. I'm not saying, but I might be saying. RaikouRider now onto the pyramid level, and this was one that Craig had just a little bit of an issue with. So a couple of problem levels that we saw from craigSMB3 last time are already starting to come up this time. So hopefully we have a renewed Craig. He's been running well. He's in World 4, Raikou's in World 5. Just about a world's difference here. There's still a lot that can happen. craigSMB3 now going to be figuring out the same thing that Raikou just did. And if he goes ahead and plays 6F1 here on the top left, it's the first one to get to. It's an easy one to get to. He's going to be figuring this out and will be joining Raikou hopefully quickly in World 5, which is actually World 6. So still a bit of a game to play here. We're only halfway done, more or less, but Craig's really got to start finding the accelerator here.
Yeah. I mean, I understand his desire to be careful, definitely. Ooh. This is not a good Hammer Bro fight. He's destroying too many bricks at this point.
Yeah, scary one for sure. And brother moves back and then does position himself back on top of the block. He is just going to have to keep the timing. Oh, got a little impatient, decided to push the fight, and those hammers just don't stop.
And Raikou, meanwhile, found Fort Knox, so gonna have to lose that firepower to get a Tanuki suit.
And with 7F2, I am a little surprised he didn't go into the level with a tail, as those are two of the fortresses that are typically intertwined with each other. World 4, of course, being the other one. Raikou taking a unfortunate up action there at the door, and of course send him back in, and he has to restart the peace beat. No problem at all, though. He is now onto his fight with Boom Boom. Now craigSMB3, okay, he is going to equip a P-Wing and will be getting through 6F1 very quickly because of that.
Yeah, definitely a good fort to have a P-Wing on. You don't have to wait for the platform or anything.
Absolutely, and you get through here without the damage boost. You could save a little bit of time. I like the idea to go ahead and save it, though. Get yourself clean and through it, and now see what these have to offer. There's 3 possible power-ups here, and a star is a great place to start.
Even gets his tail back.
And now on the side of RaikouRider, I don't know how I do it, with another Angry Sun.
There's some levels that just make me say, oof. This is one of them.
It is definitely a prime candidate for the Oof Award, especially today. 7-2 or 7F2 has come up. 7-5 now has come up again, both of which were in the first seed. Now craigSMB3 able to find Wendy. After that fight with the Boom Boom on 6F1 does mean that he will be taking on Wendy at the end of this World 7 airship and will hopefully be joining up and catching up with Raikou in just a moment.
And that Tanuki suit from 7F1 proves quite useful for getting through 7.5.
Absolutely. A tail is such a wonderful way of getting through that. There's the possibility, depending on the enemy set that you have at the beginning, that you could do a shell clip where you actually grab the shell and basically jump into the side of the pipe, and that'll essentially escort you through the wall into that next bottom level, so you don't have to even go to the top, worry about those transitions. That's a real smooth, easy way to get through that. And then break the block with the tail, slide underneath it, run across the top, build up that P speed, and then fly under and over the bridge, and you're through it. I mean, it's a very easy, clean way of doing it if you can pull those steps off. And I know that sounds like a lot. It's really not. If you play that over and over again, it's actually quite a fun way to do it.
And if you have the emotes, get ready to spam those commands in chat, as we do get a Tanuki takedown of Lemmy Koopa.
And looks like craigSMB3 has found his old nemesis, 7F2. This time he has a tail. This time, hopefully a renewed zealous for getting through this, as we have got to get Craig through the first time.
Yeah, I mean, tail, and he got the Starman to get through a bit of it, and it takes one hit, but still large, still has another power-up here.
All right, we did just get the Tanuki command on the side of RaikouRider, and we also have found out if you predicted that World 4 was up next, you are absolutely correct. Congratulations to all the winners. I am not a part of that, but that's okay. I still had fun.
There we go. My mouse took a moment to cooperate, but enjoy your payouts.
craigSMB3 through the first time on 7F2. I love to see this. I just hope it's not too late. craigSMB3 had a bit of an issue. He still had to shake some things off. RaikouRider with a very lucky break there. He jumped right onto a hot foot as the star was running out. This time the game gave it to him and said, yeah, that was close enough. So no damage on his side. He will continue through World 2's Fortress. Meanwhile, craigSMB3 now working on the World 5-3 beta.
The swimming takes a while here, and no power-ups either. So, gotta go with what you have. I was seeing as he was ducking that, yeah, that just wasn't going to be the right play, and then Big Bertha.
And I think a very good call on his side to go ahead and equip a star. Go ahead and play the other level. It is the pyramid, so that star should run out by the time it's necessary. And he gets a mushroom. So far, a much better start than the last time. And I really hope to see him do well with this one. I really, truly do.
Yeah, you want to see a good race. You want to see it be close. You don't want to see runners get tilted, especially when they're still in contention. As you said, World 8 is often the great equalizer.
Absolutely, and a very nicely done job on the side of craigSMB3. He was able to keep his cool and actually use a P-Speed strat there. That's one that the runners will use in the vanilla game, where the Buzzy Beetles will drop down. The one will get knocked out by one spinning, the other one drops, and then they collide. So you're actually out of danger. It looks a little bit nerve-wracking, but it's actually a very clean way of doing it. And craigSMB3, it just looks like he's playing better. It looks like he's playing smarter, calmer, a lot of the things that we talked about. I just hope he doesn't run out of time. I really hope to see some aggressive plays come out from him, because we got World 7 and 8 coming out next, and he's got to make a move. Also, we did just put the links in the chat for these runners. If you haven't already followed them, please consider doing so. These guys put on a lot of really good time and a lot of good streams. They work very hard. All of us are volunteers here. We have wives, we have families, we have other things that go on. But of course, SMB3 Randomizer is one of those games that we know, we love, we like being a part of. This tournament is exceptional. The guys that put it on, SpeedGaming, Pro 8007, Macobra 52 specifically on the side of Challenge Cup, Pro 8007 on the side of brackets. But everyone here is a volunteer, and if you like what you see, definitely feel free to give them a follow. These guys would surely appreciate it, and you know, we do too. We like that you guys are here, and we're so happy that you're a part of this with us.
And make sure if you want to check out other matches in this Challenge Cup, we've just posted links for the bracket and the schedule in the Discord. And if you want to try the game yourself, there's even a link for the randomizer.
And I highly, highly, highly recommend that you do. It'll give you not only an appreciation of one of the greatest games, in my opinion, of all time. SMB3 is always in my top 3 at the very, very least. It is such a great game. And then the randomizer just adds another element to it. And if you want to see what these guys go through, highly recommend that you give it a try. Join the Discord. Let us know what you think. We like to laugh. We like to talk with new players about what struggles we've had. Even in seeds that we've had recently, there was one that came up that had a 7-5 with a fire nipper at the first pipe. And that is a suicidal level to start with. It is incredibly difficult to get through. I'll be completely honest, I tried it a few times and said, no, I'm good. But anyway, if you like the game as much as we do, definitely try the link out, try it out, see what you think. We'd love to hear about your try with it, and we'll look forward to hearing back from you all on that.
So RaikouRider found the path to the end, but there is a lock here. We know that lock isn't associated with the World 1 fort that he just got the item out of, because the game is programmed so that the World 1 fort lock can never block progression. So is this fort? Well, I think that there are only 2 forts in this World 7, so this fort has to break the lock, right?
You are absolutely correct. Yeah, World 1 Fortress, like you said, cannot be part of the critical route. You cannot be soft locked because World 1 Fortress is in the way. So that will be the end of World 7, basically. And now World 8 is looming.
And we're going to see a nice P-Wing strat through the airship. Let's see if he can keep it through Ludwig and get the wand off screen and save a few seconds that way.
Yeah, Ludwig is such a crazy fight. It can go a lot of different ways. It looks like he's a high jumper this time. Looks like a full 5 hitter, actually. And with that, now he's going to be going for that off-screen wand grab. The 5 hitters are not bad in that regard, because you can actually time what happens next. So a good decision on RaikouRider to go for the off-screen wand grab there. And craigSMB3 barely able to avoid some damage there.
Yeah, he was getting beaten up by that sun. This really shows you like how critical the tail was for RaikouRider when he went through here.
Absolutely. Now 2:15 on the clock for craigSMB3, and that will unfortunately be a death to the Angry Sun. Okay, I feel like I legitimately need to give craigSMB3 a sympathy letter after this one, because 7-8 or 7-5, take your pick, they both suck.
While we're on this, though, we haven't really talked about where we are in the brackets, but this is actually the quarterfinals. The winner of this series will go to the semifinals, be one of the top 4 runners in our Challenge Cup here.
That is a great call out, and actually one of the things I started with, but definitely worth mentioning again, because the winner of this one, and I said at the very beginning that I believe the winner of this one could go all the way. So Leslie Pro 04 is taking on Jay Coper. They, of course, will play the winner of Magoo is Adorable versus Antlers. On this side of the bracket, with the quarterfinals, there, of course, are 4 races left. And that's as Diesel versus Demon Battler will take on the winner. So whoever wins that one will take on the winner of this one. And then, of course, we'll have the semifinals, and then the winner of that goes on to the finals. So Very exciting stuff so far.
And craigSMB3 did use a cloud to get past that pesky 7-5. Lemmy does not want to get hit with fireballs, though, it looks like, so we're going to have to do this the old-fashioned way.
Lemmy is such a weird boss to try to take down because the balls actually have a gravity to them instead of Wendy's, where hers just go all around the screen indefinitely. Lemmy's actually will go up and down. Thankfully, this is a flat airship, so he doesn't have to worry about the arena really playing havoc with those extra balls that he has. But a hard one to deal with, no less.
And you definitely don't want to take a death in there when you just clouded to get to the level.
No, absolutely not. So great way for craigSMB3. Play just a little bit safer, a little bit smarter. And honestly, I still don't know. I just realized I don't know if hammers break locks in this one.
And did you see where RaikouRider wound up? He wound up surrounded by a lock on either side. So he's going to have to, and yeah, he's going to have to find some fort, hope it breaks the right lock. There's only one bridge to Bowser.
And that's very interesting because that means out of all of these fortresses, only one is required. So we start with the Navy. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, the question is, what if a lock is blocking the way to a fortress that builds the bridge? But yeah, now you just have to go and check each time you beat a fort and see if that was the one that built the bridge.
It's nice, though, that there are 2 locks on this hand bridge section of World 8, because that should eliminate 2 things. So if you see 2 break there, obviously we know that's not the case. But nothing happened there. Not a bad decision to go back and check real quick. Maybe see if that's the one.
That is the one. Wow. So that's a relatively fast World 8. And oh, RaikouRider somewhere along the way found a hammer suit. So this could be a very fast Bowser fight if he keeps it.
Absolutely incredible. RaikouRider just really showing up today. craigSMB3 had a bit of an off day. You know, we feel for him, we definitely do. But RaikouRider is really playing at a high level right now. He said in his first match against Basil, he said, I feel like I could take this all the way, especially if I continue to play this way. And I have to agree. I think he's absolutely right.
Yeah, if he's playing like this, he definitely has a good shot at winning the tournament.
Absolutely. So runners beware. I'm not partial. I just call it like I see it. That's why I'm on the commentary booth. But man, I got to tell you what, Raikou has really shown up and is really doing a great job in this one. And I think he's vying for a position on the Challenge Cup.
Yeah, I mean, consistent sub-40s in the Challenge Cup are really going to get you far.
Absolutely, especially on that last one. I kind of want to take the flag set and send it over to the try this category and see which of our runners could actually do better, because a 35 or 38.55 or something like that on the last one is still sensational, especially with that World 6 with the 3 fortresses back to back to back. Absolutely crazy. But of course, some of you have already started. Get your GGs in chat for RaikouRider on a magnificent run.
And as we watch craigSMB3 finish it out, let's see if we can hopefully get RaikouRider in here for an interview.
Also, I did just jump over because I was very curious to see what happened. Teeks88 actually took the first of the 2 matches and is now in World 8 on the side of his match with Scarface Nico. Bracket stage.
Craig knows he's lost, so he's just doing some fun clipping for our amusement.
You love to see it.
At least he has a sense of humor. And we are joined by RaikouRider here. GG.
Thank you, and thank you for pronouncing my name properly.
Study a little bit of Japanese, right? I don't know what the word means, but...
It's from Pokemon.
Ah, cool.
2nd gen for life. But in
Nice.
any case, both of those seeds were just miserable. Especially the first one.
Yeah, I mean, there were some bad required levels in there.
I saw 7-5 both times. I one-shotted 7F2 both times, which was really helpful.
Yeah, and what was the awful one in World 1? Like, the second level right off the bat?
X6, I think?
Yeah, that's right.
That was brutal.
I'd suppressed the memory already, it was so brutal.
I actually went back and played another level just to get a mushroom, just to get something out of a mushroom house, because I didn't think I was going to beat that level easily with no power-up.
Yeah, Craig did the same thing, and of course you got gulped by Boss Bass your first time through as well.
Oh, that was nasty. Just gnarly stuff.
I can honestly say I don't think anybody expected that, and I don't know what noise I made, but I think that would be worth looking at the VOD alone, because I don't think anybody expected that.
Oh, I'm watching this one back. I need, and mistakes like that, I really need to cut out of my game before semis because sorry, Demon, if you're watching this, but I think S Diesel is a very heavy favorite to win that match, and we go back.
Okay, so this is feeling like a little bit of an emotionally charged race here for you.
It's, I think we played each other at least once, if not twice, in the first tournament, and all the races were really close. I distinctly remember one of our races where we were fighting Bowser at the same time. So I can't afford to make mistakes like that. I made a lot of routing mistakes in both of these races.
And it looks like that race is on the schedule for tomorrow, too, though it doesn't have a channel yet, but they're gonna start their demon battle, if you will, at 7 p.m. tomorrow Eastern Time.
I really want to see Demon take that race, but I really want to see him take that race. I really do, because we know each other from other communities as well. But I think he's about a 4-to-1 dog to win that, unfortunately. But just big shout-outs to Craig for making it this far. If you can beat Dave Lindo, you're good.
Oh yeah, that was a really good accomplishment on his part, and you know these brackets are how they are. Only one person can advance from each pairing, so someone had to be eliminated, unfortunately.
That's how these tournaments were, and like both of these seeds were nasty. Did Hammers break locks in the second seed? I never found out.
Neither did we.
Yeah, we were actually just talking about that because our fearless leader Macobra has been charting that and actually tracking it for us. I don't know on either side if it broke a lock. I might actually have to go back, pull up the seed, and maybe see if it does, because I'd be very curious. There just wasn't a spot for it though.
No, there wasn't, and there were, because the place I used the hammer I felt was right.
Yeah, and Craig used it there too. You cut out 2 levels in the process, so can't really argue with that call.
Inventory management was very key this time around, especially in the second race. You got more stars than you would normally have, and
we notice.
And I felt I did a good job managing them. That I didn't have too many items left over. I think I might have had a cloud left over when I was done.
Yeah, we noticed on, I think it was like World 2, you opened up your inventory, 7 items are in the layout, and 5 of which were stars.
That's like the hammer suits from the Demon Sharky race earlier this week, where I think I saw 4 hammer suits in Sharky's inventory.
But by the way, what is with all these 5-hit Koopa kids in this race?
Yeah, there were so many. Okay, I will take thick Koopalings over drunken hotputs any day. I noticed that there weren't very many drunken hotputs in this seed at all. Those are some of my least favorite enemies in the entire game. Like, not hotputs in general, specifically the intoxicated ones.
That's actually a really good call out and specification there, because I just realized on 7F2 you had a hotfoot on the platform with you at the very, very beginning. So yeah, that absolutely is a great place for it to not be a drunken hotfoot. Otherwise, that could have been a very different outcome.
That could very, if that was a drunken hotfoot, that could very well have led to a 7F2 infinite, and we saw what happened in the first race, where just a 7F2 infinite decided it, and that's not the way you want to see those decided ever. It's just too bad.
No, absolutely not. And you were talking about some of the levels you saw over and over again. 7F2 was there. This time we added 6-6, but you're right, 7-5, with, I think, a very similar enemy set, if not identical to the one last time. I know the Angry Sun was on both. I feel like you're going to start petitioning to not let me roll.
My seeds aren't much better, I'll say that.
All right, fair enough.
It doesn't matter what rando I play, I'm not allowed to touch the bot. I've been banned from touching the bot in this, I've been banned from touching the bot in C1R, I've been banned in touching the bot in SMB3.
Okay, so if you want to find GCC, let RaikouRider roll it for you. That'd be interesting for sure.
I've already rolled a couple in this tournament. They've all been horrible. So if you want a challenging seed, contact me. And yeah.
Okay, we just got confirmation that hammers do not break locks because Craig just tried there in World 8.
That's actually my first time I've had them not break locks in brackets. And my first match in round of 16 went to 3, and all three hammers broke locks, and we had some pretty crazy times in that. I think there was a losing 32 in that set or something silly.
That is ridiculous.
Oh no, that was my last group match where we had a losing 32. I think there was a 30 versus 32 in groups.
That really just speaks to the quality and the character of the community at this point, I think, more than anything. I mean, there were some people on this side that definitely could have been in the brackets and maybe, talk about groups and stuff. I know it's all randomized, but there were some really strong runners on both sides. I mean, the brackets is pumped full of really good runners. Challenge Cup has some really good runners. I think everybody believed that this race could go either way. Personally, I was hoping for a race 3. I had no clear favorites on it though.
Oh yeah. Let me actually see if I can find some of these, because my group was pretty crazy. I had Glutamic and Stewie Cartman advanced out of mine.
And by the way, we do have Craig now in Bowser's Castle with a hammer suit. So he may be joining us here in the booth pretty soon.
And like, there were some others. Like, when I was speaking of Demon, he got screwed in his group. He had True Hyper Mario and Mitch in his group. And then Leslie had... Because Leslie's our #1 seed. And he had a pretty crazy group. He had to deal with Europsilus and Proa in his group. And then Dave Lindo had Prior and DLP in his group, and Prior is amazing at not just this randomizer, but other randomizers too. I know Prior from other communities as well.
And do get your GGs in chat for craigSMB3, who stuck out this race, takes down Bowser with hammers, and finishes with an official race time of 47:35.
Yeah, good stuff. That was not an easy seed. Neither one of them were.
So let's see if he wants to join us. We are joined by craigSMB3. GG. Thanks for sticking that out.
I thought I'd at least finish one seed. I can't forfeit both.
Good stuff. Those were not easy seeds. Neither one of them.
Oh, don't tell me about 6 Was it 6-5? I can't remember what they.
6-6. I don't think we saw 6-5 at all.
Yeah, it took me 10 minutes to get past the first world.
Oh, 6-6 was in both of them. It was, and that layout was horrible.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
The second time around, the amount of lag was just crazy. I could have sworn the game slowed down to 15 FPS.
I think it was slower than that. But yeah, I was walking pace half after the bloopers were just randomly coming at me.
That's why I worked so hard to despawn those the second time. Craig, in the second seed at the end of 6-6, did you get gulped by Boss Bass?
I purposely got eaten by Boss Bass on 7-2 and I clouded it. But no, I didn't get eaten him. So he'd already put up, I guess, from your.
Oh, I don't think I got gulped more than once that seed, but he was at the end of 6-6 and he ate me after I got out of the pipe, and I was just like, did I just lose?
Ouch.
But just both of those were so hard, and they were so item starved too. There was the one race we got so many stars.
Oh yeah, tell me about the stars. I 7F2 in the first race. I don't know what I was doing. I'm not used to using the leaf, and the leaf physics, like when you're jumping, just seemed a bit off, and I just kept on going into the lava, and I was like going, I can't do this anymore. I think I died like 7 times.
Oh, I'm the opposite. I actually think having a leaf makes the game so much easier.
Oh yeah, I'm too much vanilla to use a leaf nowadays.
That would do it.
Yeah.
In randomizer, having that extra time that the leaf gives you to be able to react is so helpful.
Yeah, I agree. Especially obviously when you've got Quakers for bosses and stuff.
Boy, no kidding. Anyway, good stuff, and you'll be a force to be reckoned with in next year's tournament. Like I was saying, both in the interview and while I was actually studying your match with Dave Lindo, if you can beat Dave Lindo, you're good. So yeah, I was a little bit scared coming into this. Apparently, those fears were unfounded.
But yeah, GG in the rest of the Challenge Cup. Hope you get through to the final.
I would like to, because our #1 seed Leslie Pro, I know him from other communities.
A bit of revenge.
So it'll be a bit of a rivalry that we can have another chapter in, hopefully. But I'm gonna have to get through what will most likely be S Diesel, and I think that S Diesel is probably the favorite to win the Challenge Cup.
Oh yeah, I think so.
He'll be tough to get past, but I honestly think that matchup is going to be a coin flip.
I would probably also favor S Diesel, but honestly, looking at who's left, I wouldn't rule out any of them.
No, you really can't. I mean, there is a powerful on either side. There's just a lot of really good runners left. You know, we talked previously, S Diesel versus Demon Battler is who you're watching for next, Raiko. And you're absolutely right. Whoever wins that one could very well go to the finals and take it. But who out of any of those are you going to say, no, it's not going to be a good race on?
Honestly, are you talking about the top 4 races?
The quarterfinals, yeah.
Well, top 4 is semis. Or you're talking about like
the remaining races today and tomorrow. You know, I mean, sure, there are favorites, but I think any of them is a contender.
After, like, if Demon can really amp up his game against S Diesel, I think it's going to be a race. But sorry if you're watching this, Demon, but I'll be honest, I think that S Diesel is a pretty heavy favorite to win.
Well, we shall see.
Once we get to the semifinals, all bets are off. Just all the runners are so strong, and all the runners who are in semifinals, all those runners just got screwed by their groups. like just whatever people they drew in groups, and that's going to happen because just the stratification of runner skill in this tournament is so broad that you're inevitably going to get anywhere between 3 and 6 people that you'll wonder, how did these guys not make brackets? And then you go look at the groups, and just the way the groups fell made it impossible for all those runners to be in the main tournament. But that's just how groups work.
Absolutely. I was kind of thinking about something, and maybe this would be something that has to go back to the planning committees and all that jazz. But I'd be very interested to see, because like you talked about, you know, you had the guys that you're really wondering, hey, you know, what gives, what happened? And it'd be interesting to see if you won the Challenge Cup, if you got back into it like at the quarterfinals level or the semifinals level. It would take a lot of strategizing to get that in, but I think it'd be very interesting to kind of make it a double elimination for that regard, that whoever wins and maybe the finalist can both go back in and join the brackets and see, you know, what happens. Because there's a lot of really, 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 really good raw talent like you talked about. I'd be very curious to see how that would stack up there as well.
There is, and another thing that I feel would alleviate this would be just Swiss, but that's up to the organizers. There are definitely advantages and disadvantages to groups versus Swiss, but I wouldn't mind seeing a year where it was Swiss instead.
That would be very interesting. Maybe that'd be something worth looking into, even if not for this tournament. Maybe another one that gets represented and put together. That could be fun.
Like, Swiss gets so exciting towards the end because naturally what that tournament structure does is the closer you get to the end of the tournament, the more equal, in theory, you'll have for the more equal skill you'll have between runners towards the end.
Yeah, and with there still being a Challenge Cup for people who don't make it into the main brackets, the people at the lower end of Swiss still have something to play for.
Exactly. It's just something that I would like to see. One year is just try Swiss, and then if it doesn't work well for this community, we can always go back to groups. But in any case, good job finishing that out, Craig, and best of luck in next year's tournament.
You too. Thank you.
And in terms of this tournament, we haven't talked as much about the other side of this bracket, but the 2 semifinalists from the other side of the bracket will be determined later today. We have Magoo is Adorable facing Antlers 44 right here on SpeedGaming 3 at 6 p.m., so 2.25 hours from now, and they'll be followed immediately by Leslie Pro versus Jay Coper on SG4 at 8 p.m. So if you want to see which of those two go on to face each other in the semifinals while RaikouRider waits to see who he's facing in his semifinal match, definitely check out those races tonight.
Absolutely. Any of these with semifinals coming up, quarterfinals currently going on, are just going to be exceptional races to watch. We just found out Teeks88 did take game 2, and that means that he will, of course, be advancing on and looking forward to the winner of Pro A007 versus Human Mustard. And you want to talk about games that could go either direction or any direction, and you're looking right at it. I mean, this is a randomizer, and these guys are really stinking good at this game. So you're not going to want to miss it. We could use comps for both, by the way. So if anybody is watching and says, hey, I'd love to try my hand at that, we'll see if we can get you paired up with maybe a veteran of the commentary booth and get you on and invite you into all the action. We'll look forward to having you.
Yeah, and in terms of games that could go either way, that second game between Teeks88 and Scarface wound up being decided by 16 seconds, and we've had quite a few close matches like that in both the main tournament and the Challenge Cup, so you never know how they're going to turn out until they're played.
Oh, and absolutely right. That is absolutely remarkable. 16 seconds in a game that takes anywhere from about 30 minutes to 38, depending on what flag set you're playing, who's playing, things like that. 16 seconds is not a long time. And in fact, a lot of time that's even down to a clip or a specific item or whatever you may have at that time.
But I think for now, that will do it for us. Once again, be sure to follow both of these runners. They really did play great in 2 really tough seeds. And also, thank you to Growlwolf. Awesome comms, dude.
Oh, likewise to you as well. I really, really appreciate you you being on board with me. It always makes it a lot more interesting for sure.
Hey, it's great to work with you again.
Always a pleasure. And with that, we will say thank you to you viewers as well for being here. There's a lot of places that you could be today, but you're not. You're here with us. So for that, we say thank you for sure. On behalf of the SMB3 randomizer community, specifically the Challenge Cup, RaikouRider, craigSMB3, Makobra, who puts this together, Drosy, and everybody at SpeedGaming, who are just amazing, 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 amazing. The tools that they put together, the content that they put on for you all is nothing less than exemplary. And if you're not already following all 6 of their channels, go do it. We'll be leaving here in just a second, so go do it. Figure it out. Find them. You don't want to miss a thing. But on behalf of Drosy and myself, Growlwolf, we want to say thank you so much for being here. Until next time, keep randomizing, keep racing. Take care.